The Fargo Five. I'm Conrad Fargo. We are here with Rich Early, owner of Paradox Comics. Hello, Rich.
Howdy.
So, Rich, I don't know if you know, but this show is insanely popular. My inbox is just brimming with emails. I cannot control all the emails I get.
That's why the internet's so slow.
Yeah, it's because they're all emailing me.
Yep.
And they send the same questions kind of over and over and over again. So I've boiled them down to like a dozen of them. And what I like to do is ask our guests the Fargo frequently asked questions and just kind of see what they know about it and what they think. Are you ready?
Yep.
Well, this first one almost seems tailor-made for you, but I swear I wrote this before I even knew you were coming on. I wrote it.
You mean you got this was the most popular email?
Yes,
yeah,
there you go. Thank you. Not
and then you wrote it down on the paper.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah, yep.
I like you. What is your favorite? Star Wars, Star Trek, Battlestar Galactica, or Marvel?
Oh, it's so unfair. It just will be Star Wars. I was 7 years old when I saw Star Wars, and it was my entire I'm just that perfect age, that perfect generation, little kid, and that led me to everything else. So it'll just always be Star Wars. So.
Okay, what do you like about Star Wars so much? I mean, what is it that what's your favorite part about Star Wars?
It all harkens back to the nostalgia of being a kid in a simpler time. There was just good guys and bad guys. I mean, one of the things you got that, when you look at the movies, you look at the newer ones and the older ones, the original movie is just so raw. It's just so perfect. Movies now are better than they ever were, hands down. Yes. But there's something about
production value is better, but the writing.
Well, the writing is perfectly good. Part of it is when we're a kid, our brains are different, and those are the first things we're exposed to. So we always have a predilection to them. So I don't think it's fair necessarily to say they're better, but it's oftentimes it's the highly produced, clean nature of things now versus the very raw, less highly produced, just get it done, shot done. And so there's just so many cool things about that to me. So
do you think...
what? Sorry. The other thing is when you see that first Star Wars movie, it triggers your imagination, but there is no other content. Nothing else exists. The Marvel comic exists, but there's no other media at all, no other movies. So the whole rest of the Star Wars universe is a blank slate. Whereas now, that blank slate is filled up. There's so much material and always more coming out. So it's totally different because your imagination is not quite challenged in the same way because you don't need to wonder. You can just see it. So,
there is something about when it's not filled in, it's not answered. You can come up with your own answers and have your own fantasies.
Yep, and then when it fills in, if it doesn't meet your expectations, that's when you get mad. It might be perfectly good, but it wasn't what you thought it was going to be.
That's exactly so. Matrix 2, I had that. So Matrix 2, I was fine with the way it ended, and I was like, if they solve it, if they answer how that happened, this way, that way, or the other way, then fine. But otherwise, and then it turned out to be otherwise, and ruined the whole thing for me. But okay, this is something I want to. Do you get out of Fargo often? I mean, because you're a business owner, it must be tough to leave town.
But we go to national conventions or vacation. Yes,
and so you move around. Would you say? Tell me this: are Fargo people actually friendly? Is Midwest nice a thing, or is it just a sales pitch? Is it just something we say about ourselves?
Oh, I don't know. Fargo people have always been friendly to me. So, I interact with Fargo.
But are they particularly? They call it Midwest nice, right? Are we particularly? Is there something different about Fargo people? Do you have any sense that when you go to California or New York or Oregon, is it like, these aren't Fargo people, or is it people are people?
I think mostly what I would say is when I have traveled to places like that and people there find out where I'm from, they typically say that their experience is that Midwesterners are the nicest people that they know and interact with. So I think part of it, if you're from New York or a busy place, you're used to sort of a more hectic pace. Mm-hmm. And so I don't even know if it's about nice or not nice. I think it's about our pace of life versus that faster pace of life, and maybe the boundaries being pushed a little bit more there than here, So we definitely do have that passive aggressiveness. That is a real thing. But yes. I personally, I think people here are very nice. I as someone who interacts with the public locally all the time, the number of times I've actually had bad interactions with humans over 30 years is like less than 10. You know? So over 30 years. So it's
I think that's just because you're such a nice guy. I think you're so nice. You're a sweet person. I think you don't end up dealing with bad people. I think.
I don't know. I'm really lucky to have been. All I did was open the shop. I've just been lucky to have been chosen by people, to be trusted and be sort of at the middle. I'm just the nerd who opened the door. Some nerd had to do it. I did it, but I mean, it's the nerd's world, not mine. That drives my whole existence, I guess.
So I meet a lot of people. I work with a lot of businesses actually, and I meet a lot of business owners just in my various lines of work. And something I notice is that successful people tend to be very grateful for what they have. And I don't know if it's when you get successful, you're grateful, or when you're grateful, you get successful. But definitely, I think that attitude of like, well, I'm just, all I did was this and da-da-da-da-da. But I mean, you did Paradox Comics. Come on. I mean,
you know what? Listen. Here, this is the story, okay? Every good business owner, this is the absolute truth, right? My job is to make it. This is my job. My job is to make an employee a better person from the day they came in to the day they left. If I do that, everything else happens. So basically what I'm saying is my job is to give everybody what they need, put them in a good position to succeed, but it's their job to actually, run and build the business, and then that's what filters down. We've done that forever. We were running events in 1993 when that was not, the popular buzzword that everybody everywhere thinks they got to run events, right? But so we were bringing people in. That's why we have generations of people who grew up at our shop and know us and remember us and things like that. Now they've got their kids and things like that. It's because we were there, in the trenches doing it from day one. I don't mean that as a brag. I really don't. It just means we invited you in a different way than anybody else kind of did.
That's beautiful. That's a beautiful sentiment. You're a great guy, Rich, and I appreciate you. I appreciate Paradox Comics. We are going to move. That's all the time we have for frequently asked questions. We're going to move into the last segment, which is Fargo favorites, right after an intermission here. So don't go nowhere.